let a couple more people in. Hey, Cam, you ready to kick off?
Yep, sounds good.
Okay. Welcome, guys. This is this month's Accelerate session. Really excited to introduce you to Cameron Russell. Cameron's got a Snap fitness business in Maitland. Welcome to the call, Cameron.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks. It's good to be here and an honour. Thanks for the invite.
Mate, I'm stoked to catch up and sort of chat to you a bit about your fitness business. In Gym Hub, we try and interview someone every month that's a gym owner themselves. I always think there's a lot of random information on Instagram and YouTube and stuff, and it's hard to decipher what's actually relevant and what would sort of help in a fitness business. So yeah, really excited to sort of chat to someone like yourself, where there's little shortcuts that we can potentially find that we can implement in our own fitness business, but also look for any any mistakes you've made along the way and things that might save everyone a little bit of time. So welcome to the call, buddy. Give everyone a bit of an introduction. Tell us a bit about your Snap fitness business. How long have you sort of been there? How's the business going?
Yeah, so we are 9 years this November, so nearly the 9th birthday. So it's been a long journey, I would say. It wasn't an established club. It used to be a garden shop when we opened up in end of 2012 to now. Obviously, back then the 24-hour gym scene was very, very new. Obviously, Anytime Fitness were just kicking off. Snap Fitness were having more of a presence in other states than New South Wales. So we're a bit behind that area. And then, I've seen the full journey through to the group training explosion with F45 and the likes of those guys into what we are now. It's evolving. Also seeing, not long into that, the big box gyms, the Fitness First, etc., really changing their model to compete with the Virgins to back in that. So it's one of those things. I think you always have to adapt and you always got to learn. And I think the best thing about it, I suppose why we've always stayed in contact over the many years, Steve, is that kind of the small percentages to get better each day, each week, each year, but also just enjoy the fitness industry and what it has to offer inside and outside of the business as well.
It's so good. You said that you're living in Newcastle, which did you say it's about half an hour from Maitland?
Yeah, half an hour from Maitland. So obviously when I first moved, I moved up from Sydney to the Northern Beaches. I was living down there, and then I moved up to Maitland to open the gym, full knowing I didn't really want to be. I always liked to be near the ocean. And then I spent about 5 months, I think, just living near the gym when I first opened it. And then the best thing for me to do was to move away from the gym, so half an hour drive down to Newcastle, because I like to switch off. I like to surf. I like to see the pubs and the bars and the cafes as well. So that was good for me. I know we had this discussion on the phone about, separating work to home life and social life as well, which has been good. And it's been a great kind of learning curve too. When I, drive into work, I can plan the day. When I leave work, I can decompress the day. And when I get home, it's kind of all done and dusted.
Look, it's like testament to yourself. You've got a manager in there, and once you've really given it a good push and got some traction there, you can obviously set up some systems and stuff, and we'll talk about them a little bit later. But it means that you don't have to be in there every day now, and you can, spend time in Newcastle working remotely on your marketing, or you can sort of check in with the staff that way. So it's pretty, sounds like a good position you're in, a few years after you get going.
Yeah, I think it was one of the biggest learning curves. I was probably 18 months in, and then I started, a mentorship program. And it was, to be honest, it's the best 2 years that I spent. I signed up for 1 year, but I wanted to, I learned so much and got so much value out of it. I continued on to another year. And it wasn't when a lot of the mentorship programs were available. And it was at that stage where I could really grow the business, but I systemized it.
Yeah, good.
I was having systems for myself. I used to write myself a report every Friday about how the week went, numbers,
Sure.
What went well, what didn't go well. And it just kept me accountable too. I was obviously looking over the numbers each week, even though I was in there managing it for the first 18 months by myself. But those systems were then in place to then, plug someone into it after that.
Tell us a bit about your numbers. How many members have you got? How many staff? What's it look like for you?
Yeah, so we sit around 1,330, 40 members. So let's say it's over 1,300.
Yep.
And then we have a full-time manager and a casual staff. And then we've got 4 PTs. The PTs are contractors. And that's the thing. We probably need to find one more if we come out of this lockdown, and they keep going the same way.
Okay.
Literally, 3 of them are pretty much fully chocked with, a couple of spaces, and one's growing but solid. So it's a good, out of probably the 24-hour gyms, we've got a good stranglehold on the PT. There's a large uptake.
Sure.
I think because when they see a lot of PT going on, more members are inclined to, inquire about PT or, small group stuff.
Yeah, okay. What do you've got the trainers on like a rental system? Do you mind sharing what do you sort of charge a trainer to be a PT in your business?
Yeah, so I suppose I'm very soft on them. I see them as a big asset. I charge them 175 a week for rent, and then in return they have to do a group training session. I pay them for additional stuff if they do. And then new programs and things like that they just do those for new members to come in as well. So
yeah, great.
I think it's probably below. I speak to a lot of others. People are charging 220, 250, up to 300.
Sure.
But I think the team are really, really strong and really tight, and I'd rather sacrifice that to have a good, solid team than look at the bottom line for these.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you can. If people enjoy working together and they don't mind actually picking up the tools and sort of helping you out, like when they feel like they're on a pretty good wicket, I think there's a little bit less animosity there, and you might ask them to be involved in a challenge or be involved in a social media post and stuff. And they tend to be a little bit more responsive. So I definitely think it's a bit of a balance between pricing and also value for them. And with your managers, so one person's full-time and then another sort of manager part-time. Is that how you do it? Like one and a half?
Yeah, 1.5, or probably one and a casual, you'd say.
Yes.
In that sense, I haven't gone down the line of having 1.5, yet, but
sure.
In time, I think it does change over the last 9 years. It's really changed of what the manager's role is versus what they need to do.
Yeah.
And things like that. Obviously, it depends on the whole process for a new member to the sales process, to the retention side, to doing all the marketing and things like that. So we just look at that and see what's important and where we can kind of do it. I mean, just before we started recording, we're talking about the virtual VAs, and getting those guys to do different tasks. I don't use them yet, but I have thought about it for on and off for the last 2, probably 3 years. Getting to them to do tasks and stuff like that. If I probably wasn't as hands-on as I am, I'll definitely do that.
Yeah, I think, and I can introduce you to like a company that we can use with confidence. It's, I think it's good for admin support. Like a local staff member, you might pay $25 an hour, $35 an hour more. And there's some things that just aren't, that complicated, and it needs to be done every single week. And I think if you can, where possible, you can offload some of those things. There's also other roles like a manager being there to answer the phone and chase inquiries and tour the gym. You just can't replace sort of virtually. And I think just finding that balance is important. I imagine like your full-time and your casual would handle all the sales inquiries. Is that how it works for you?
Yeah, the manager really takes control, and then obviously, like on a Saturday or whatever, if people really can only come in on a Saturday, he'll book them in with the casual. He's offsider. But yeah, he likes to take control because then his own destiny is in his hands when he takes control of a lot of it. But he has full confidence with all the training. I do a lot of sales training with the staff and things like that.
Sure.
And we do external training too. So they have the confidence to do that. I think why our PTs go really well, because I'd really suggest and not make them, but I really entice them to jump onto the sales training, because if they're better at sales, they're going to have a lot more clients.
It's sometimes like getting my kids to eat their vegetables. You know it's good for them, and you at the start they're often a bit reluctant to it. It's like I don't really need it. I'm fine, but you kind of know what's best for them. You know that if they don't get good at sales. You know that if they don't get clients, they don't stay, and they go, oh, the industry's too hard. So you sort of got to make some of those things minimum requirements and stuff initially, but hopefully they start to be a bit receptive of the benefits of those skills.
Yeah, and I think I just put it to them in the roundabout way. It's like, I don't make it mandatory. I said, but you guys are crazy if you're not,
Yeah.
I'll pay for this. If you want to pick up, another client or keep a client for, 12 months, are you willing to sit down for the next 6 hours and learn this or go through that process? And they all buy in. I was super proud. We did a big training day. We had everyone in the office, and then I walk in at lunchtime, and they're all in there doing role plays. They weren't asked to do it, but they were just role playing with each other because they could see and they feed off each other. So,
but I did that last week. Our gym's shut in Sydney, and our team have a different kind of lifestyle at the moment. And my biggest fear is we sort of reopen. We get to summer. It should be peak season. It should be major acquisition time. I just want them to feel confident and sharp and still retain all those skills. And I always compare sales skills to like doing chin-ups. If you take a month off, chin-ups are really hard. We did like an hour last week just talking about walk-in inquiries, and we do things on the phones. What about your team? What type of sales training do you think they kind of need most when they first start that sort of helps them?
Yeah, I think it's getting a handle on, the communication and the conversation. Every sales is a conversation. It starts that way. Like if a PT comes out of, early training or their Cert 3 and 4s, they don't get any sort of kind of business training or skills in regards to sales. But, they really know how to roll out a great session, but they don't know how to tell the member that this is what they need. This is how we can help you. To get this way, we need to do this, this, and this, and just following like a simple sales process. So I think we spend a lot of time on that. We've done a lot of training with Peter Lakovich. He's been
spoke to Peter last week. Good guy.
Oh, great guy. And, if you're looking for a sales guru, he's the one. We'll organize, him to come and speak to 10, 20 gyms, and we do it. He's even that good on Zoom now as well, being interactive. And it was so worth it. The minimal investment for the gym or for the individual as a group buying was phenomenal. So he's something I've used over the many years as well. Any opportunity we can get to him, we do. So he's probably the best sales guy I've seen. Just transfers it really well.
I did his training 2008 or 2009, and a lot of the principles around the direction to take a conversation and trying to, rather than putting a lot of training into overcoming objections, just actually removing the objection, but like at the start. So I've implemented a lot of that into the Gym Hub systems and what we use, and kind of just taking the best parts of different systems and stuff we use. And it's, I find as long as my team can feel authentic and it's not too structured, it's not too sort of script learning, and that they really just apply their own sort of feel to it. And I like it. I like if our gym's open and it's not COVID related, I'll go in on a Monday, and I like hearing one person deliver it. And it has a different sort of feel to it because everyone's got their own style. That for us has been a good lesson, that you don't really have to sort of create a clone of one person because they have success in a certain way either.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and why I like about him. But just taking anything, it's he gives you a framework, or you get a framework, and then you've got different individuals. You might have a really outgoing, staff member or PT versus someone who's really quiet but has a lot of respect in the way they speak. And they can put their own spin on it. They can have their own personality to it, and you still get the same result. But they're still working within their framework and doing a sales process the best way they feel comfortable. And then it doesn't come across as salesy or scripty or anything like that.
No, it's so good. Tell me a bit about your gym. What do you sort of charge for memberships? What are the options when someone comes in?
Yeah, so at the moment we're 17.95 per week on the flexible, so no contracts, and then
Yep.
15.95 per week on a 12-month term.
Okay.
Probably one of the biggest learnings over the 9 years is, we started back when 24-hour gyms were super cheap. 12.95 with pre-sale at 10.95, and then we opened at 12.95.
Yeah.
Increasing those prices, members don't care; they see value. By putting your memberships up $1 a week, has no relevance to the new member coming in. That's probably one of the biggest things I have learned in regards to pricing. I think you can afford to be $1 or $2 more expensive than what you think you should be.
It's so good to hear that, because I think it's easy when you start out to be fearful that you have to be cheaper than your competition, and I think it's the worst point of difference to have, is that you're the lowest price.
Yeah.
As soon as a gym opens around the corner $1 cheaper than you, if that's what your point of difference was, you lose those people. So it's I really like that sort of realization around pricing. And like, you've got 1,300 members. There's lots of 24-hour gyms that have half that. What do you feel like you're sort of doing well as a team that's enabled you to sort of get past that 1,000 member mark and really maximize profitability in what you're doing day to day?
Couple of things. I mean, it's a tricky one, and it's a very loaded question as well, Steve. I think from the outgo, we were all about community. The number one driving was building relationships with members, and that's why we seem to have a huge referral base. So our biggest form of marketing is referrals. But trying to have a relationship, so all the staff members, if you came into the gym, I'd love for the manager or the person on the front desk to say hello, but then, someone else, a PT, to say hello to you because you're just working out there on the gym floor, even with another even with another client.
Sure.
So that's our goal, is for all our members to be said hello to and goodbye to by, 2 staff members, one at minimum. And it just creates a great relationship, and then you build a relationship with them over time. And then, they can have a chat over, from one side of the gym to the other, just about, how you're going, blah, blah, how's your golf game, how's your dog going, etc. So that's a big thing. We're all about, relationships over memberships, in that sense, and building that community. I mean, I think one of the things that's super popular within the gym, not so much challenges, but our social events that we run, engaging outside of the 4 walls of the gym. It could be, going up to Nelson Bay and climbing Mount Tomaree, and then going to the pub afterwards and having a few beers and lunch. Or, one of our biggest things we've done is our mystery bus tour. We just hire a bus, say we'll pick you up at 10:30, you'll be back by 7 p.m.
I love that.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. It like literally sells out in 2 or 3 days. When we could get 40 or 50 on a bus, we would do that. And we'd just go to 3 spots. We'd try and pick somewhere. We might go to the Hunter. We might go north Nelson Bay. We might go south towards, Caves Beach or the entrance. And we just go 2 or 3 spots. It might be a microbrewery into a lunch spot. And has been phenomenal. We've run it for years as well. Just those small social events. Could be, even now we do Zoom trivia nights that we can't be, inundating. We're doing games nights, etc. So people love that. It's not just, building a community within the gym, also for them to become friends outside of the gym as well.
Yep.
You could do a raw challenge. It's all basic stuff, but if you just, do it well and be consistent with it, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, I think consistency is the key. We've got like a 12-month retention calendar, and we sort of go in and make sure we've actually scheduled things in there. So if we can't do a raw challenge at the moment because you just can't do them, we have to sort of replace that with something that connects everyone together. And I find if someone sort of, signs up as an individual and they don't connect to someone like a trainer and a member and stuff relatively soon, they go in and out quite quickly. I definitely encourage you guys, if you're hearing some cool ideas today, not only to write them down, but to start to consider scheduling them as a bit of a calendar, versus the reactive response where you're going, oh shit, retention's a real problem for us. Why don't we do something next week? It's kind of too late at that point. Like we're trying to do it regularly. A good question just came through. Stephen's asked, great to hear that you're getting growth through referrals. Do you have any sort of systems or referral strategies that you found to be effective or that you put in place?
Yeah, so we do. When we actually revisit this just recently, but essentially, when the member comes in, they join. Let's say they join on a Monday. We send them information after they join, like a little welcome email, things like that. I think it's day 3 or 4, they'll get an SMS saying, "Hey, obviously, welcome to the gym. It's always more fun to train with friends. Here's a 7-day pass for a friend. Bring them down." So then they've got a little, virtual 7-day trial card or whatever you want to give them,
Sure.
automated to them. We put that into some email, and probably day 5, they'll probably get that email again. Maybe 2 weeks later after they've joined, day 15, let's call it, they might get a referral offer saying, "Hey, did you know if you, refer a friend, you can get this, this, and this, whatever your referral offer is for that month."
Yeah.
And so we just kind of put it into, the whole process of them coming in to the journey. So they're not just reminded once or twice, they're reminded, many times, because it's like marketing. People have to see it many times over. Obviously signs in the gym and things help as well. So that's probably the process that we use. So we know every member who comes in knows about the referral time at least 3 times in their first 30 to 40 days, plus any other advertising that we have going out to them via emails, etc.
Yeah, there's so much gold in that. I like the language around that. It's more fun when you do it with a friend, and I totally agree. That's kind of what I'm missing at the moment in lockdown, is actually training with a training partner. I like the fact of asking multiple times, because I think if you ask someone the first time, they may not think of someone at that time, but when you ask them again later, they might have literally had a conversation with someone at work. So their circumstances change, their trust in us goes up over time, so they're a bit more likely. I love that you're sort of automating some of that stuff through email and that as well.
Yeah, and another one we've probably getting better at, and previously we weren't great, is the point of sale referral.
Yeah.
Asking for them right there and then. And we found we might get 1 in 4 members who will do something. But what the manager was finding is he would talk to them saying, "Hey, look, I'll leave this here, explain, if they've got any friends, blah, blah, blah." But if he actually walked away and wasn't there with them, he would come into the office and then look back at them, and then they start to fill it out.
Yes.
So just by, removing yourself from the situation, by having pressure on them, we're starting to get a lot better traction, and they're the best quality leads we've been finding.
Love it.
Yeah. And the other side of that thing too is, if you do have a referral, make sure you share it on your social media. If you can get the 2 of them together, or if you can get whatever, and it just reminds people, it's like, oh, they referred. Oh, I remember about that referral offer. Maybe I should bring a friend in.
Yeah, it's good. It's yeah, we give the guys, like we charge a starting fee or a joining fee. As part of that, we give them like a little glass reusable water bottle, and then they can sort of choose between like a t-shirt or a singlet or a hat or something like that. So that in the price presentation, there's a time where we say, "Hey, let me go and get you your startup pack." We walk out and we prompt them there and then, and we say, "Hey, it's always more fun training with a friend. If there's someone at work or perhaps one of your family members that would love to come in and take a 1-week free trial, write their details down there, and here's the benefit." And then we do the same thing. We give them time. So we've actually got somewhere to go. There's a reason behind leaving it. But I find the same thing. They're actually, not sure what people, you see it at like bus stops, and you see it in public these days. People can't take 10 seconds by themselves anymore. They have to go to their phone. And I think there's an opportunity where you give them something to do during that time, as long as it's win-win. What's an example of something you might do as a monthly campaign? You said it sort of varies a little bit, but how might you incentivize someone to refer a friend in a campaign?
Yeah, so we always, we've tried the $50 cash, or a Rebel voucher, like a Rebel Sport, or a debit card voucher. But we always find merchandise, simple, which costs us a lot less, and better branding for us is always a win, especially like jumpers, hoodies, and singlets. hoodies and singlets have probably been by far our biggest one. Obviously 2 weeks free, but also then having personal training options as well. Picking up a personal training because people always want to, be further. I read a statistic that, literally 60% of our members want help from us in some way or other. They just won't ask for it directly. So they want help with their training if it's a technique thing or anything like that. So it's positioning not just your help, but as also the training options that they have with it. But we've done everything we've done. You can win a bike, like go in the draw to win a bike and holidays and things like that. I always find the smaller, give me something right now option is always the best. And even the smaller dollar value has been better. A perceived $50 or $60 jumper, that costs you $30 is huge, plus your branding.
Yeah, just like to support that statement, I find if it's complicated and they've got to, once you recommend 5 people, you accrue these points. People are like, they don't want anything to do with it. If it's just tangible, if you actually put the hoodie on and say, guys, new delivery of these hoodies have just come in, perfect to keep you warm on your way into the gym. Refer a friend and we'll give you one. Like if it feels like they'll get that and they can see it. We actually do different runs of like clothing and stuff like that. So there's little changes to it. So even if they referred us and got a hoodie 3 months ago, they might still be interested in referring a friend to get the new design or the new look.
It's like your shirt you got on now. Nike has a lot of variations of that one Nike shirt.
And you can still keep it on brand, but I feel like that's like the same person that referred. You're trying to create a culture, aren't you, of that person being an ongoing referrer. If the average person has, at least 300 connections in their phone, it's got to be 5 of them that they can send into the gym.
Yeah, and a lot of the time people just like the recognition. It's like, hey, Steve, thanks for referring John down to us. He's loving it, great guy, blah, blah, blah. Here's a jumper or 2 weeks free, whatever it is. But sometimes they just feel good for, helping their mate out and helping you out and just the recognition of it. So I think recognition is big in that side. Could be online, socially, digitally, or just in personally. Thank you.
Yeah, what was that saying? The babies cry for it and men die for it. Like recognition, they go to war, they come back with medals on their chest. And you think recognition's as so understated. I think it's really, we're always quick to go, oh, how much can we pay a trainer to ask for that? Or how much can we pay a member? We have a campaign inside the Gym Hub program, which is 30 Google reviews in 30 days. And we've got these little trucker caps and they're like $8 to create one. And we just say, look, here, leave a good review and we'll give you a trucker cap. I reckon 3 people out of 30 actually wanted a hat. Like they just wanted to thank you. I just think it's really easy to sort of lead with the recognition.
Yeah, we do the same thing. We do like the Keep Cup coffee cups.
Right.
We just pick a 10, 20 members, 30 members. We just SMS them saying, hey, hey, Steve, awesome work last week. I saw you came, 14 times to the gym. We'd love some help from you. Would you mind giving us a 5-star Google review?
Yes.
As a favor, as a thank you, we'll give you a coffee Keep Cup.
Love it. I love the language. Can you help? I think that's really clever.
Yeah, and they love to help, and half of them only come in for the Keep Cup. The other half don't. They're not bothered. They just want to help.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is it branded, the Keep Cup?
Yeah. Yep. We do them branded.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Well, it's actually it's like a bamboo Keep Cup kind of thing.
Yeah, I know the ones you're talking about. It's a good idea. Like, imagine how many people must see that on a daily basis getting filled back up as you're going in and out of cafes as well. It's giving out hoodies, Keep Cups, that type of stuff where someone's walking around and promoting your brand for you is brilliant.
Yeah, and I think those small items like the trucker caps cost you $8 or $9. The Keep Cup costs you $5 or $6 or $7.
Great.
They're small things, but people love them, and it's continuous. And you can buy a whole heap of them and keep them for 2 years. You don't have to buy huge amounts of quantities either. So I think it's those little simple things, and then people love free stuff, or they love merchandise or whatever.
So good, bud. Let me go to some of the questions coming through. Taz has got a 24-hour gym in Victoria. She asked, do you offer any classes at the moment, or is it strictly gym access?
Yeah, we do classes. So we have, I'd say about 11 or 12 group classes a week, kind of
Yep.
6 a.m., 6 p.m., couple of days, couple of 9:30 slots and a boot camp on a Saturday. So it's good. Like the group stuff, it's a funny area because we don't compete with the guys of, the small group fitness experts like F45, etc.
Sure.
But I think a lot of members like the fact that we actually do offer group training. If you compare yourself to a big box gym, a Virgin Active who have 200 group classes a week,
Yep.
a lot of the people don't actually go and do them. They just like the fact that it's on offer.
Yeah.
So we do, but I look at it's probably 5% of our membership base actually attend or go to the group fitness stuff.
It's so true. That perception of value. We found for the first 12 months, people kept coming in saying, "Oh, do you do yoga?" And we would say, "No, but we can help you out with this, this, and this." And it sort of created this thing where one aspect of something they were looking for was missing. We switched it where we added like 1 or 2 yoga classes a week. Someone would come in and ask, "Do you do yoga?" And yeah, we sure do. And they joined, and how many people went to yoga? It was like 10 in a week or something. But it's that perception that, these guys can actually give it to us if I want to do it. I'm assuming, do they pay any more for group class access, or that's just included in membership?
We don't. It's kind of funny. We've always ran it since day one. So when group classes weren't that big and group training wasn't that big, over the last 4 or 5 years, it's become huge. We didn't. We was always included in the membership.
Yeah.
But if I went to do it again, I would probably have, a few dollars extra a week.
Sure.
You could jump it up to $10 extra a week, depending on your model.
Yes.
But that's something that I look back on. I don't think I could really then go and charge, the difference in it now because it's established and it's not costing us a lot of money. It's one of the good things we do offer.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at a business, you're looking at yield and things like that, I'd definitely recommend you could do it.
Yeah, I think if it's a bit of a no-brainer, at our first gym, we had a group class option and it was like $10 more a week. So it was a bit of a no-brainer. It was probably cheaper than you'd get if you went somewhere else to get classes separate to what we were doing. But we in reality, for me, I actually started going to classes. So I reckon I went to 5 local gyms, went to their classes, and I was like, wow, that's actually heaps better than what we're offering. So it was really important for us in terms of pricing that it was a bit of a no-brainer. If you are going to charge for it, it might be an extra $3, an extra $5 or something. They might not use it all the time, but it's often a starting point in the price presentation. But yeah, I don't think you want to actually price yourself into comparisons with Orange Theory or any of those sort of specialist brands.
Nah, definitely. You've got to look at what you do well and what you're trying to do. You can't do everything really, really well, so you can't price yourself as that. But in saying that, people are willing to pay for it. We have people paying for a $17 a week membership, but then paying $30, $40, $50, $60 to a PT just to do a couple of small group sessions with them directly.
Yeah.
So the perceived value is there. It's just a matter of how you position it, etc.
It's good. I'm one of those people. I've got 3 gym memberships, and I own a gym. I just like doing different stuff at different places. And I think there's always a percentage of people that are going to pay for additional services like PT or apparel and all that type of stuff if you ask. So it's good one to have. Other questions? What do you find the most effective way to communicate with your members? Do you prefer email, text, phone calls? What do you do?
Text is definitely the most responsive to the masses. I always, the personal touch of a phone call is great, but obviously depending on your manpower. Emails, it's good. Like we'll have, a 30 to 40% open rate from our members. But that drops to, 15 to 20% from prospects in regards to sending an email and for them, massive them to open.
Yes.
But I do all two, email, SMS, is super important. Even communicating through social media. via direct messages, or even, just on comments, etc. as well, is another effective way.
Great.
Yeah, but definitely text messages, if you want to get an important message out, definitely the best way.
Well, it's that sort of 100% open rate, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's if it's important and it's an update around COVID restrictions and you need the message to get there, I agree. SMS is like the fastest, most effective way. And if there's more information, and if you've got a video or you've got a blog or something like that, it's probably not SMS, but that can be read at another time. What about personal trainers? Chris is actually a manager at a Snap Fitness in Haberfield. He's asking, do you have any systems in place for personal training? Like, you've got to a point where you've got 4 personal trainers there. They're all getting along well. Do you have like a sign-up package or like an on-ramp or something for someone that's interested in personal training to help your trainers?
Is the question directed to if how does a personal trainer come on board in the business, or is it for how people go to the personal trainer?
I think it's the latter. I think it's for helping the trainer to get clients.
Yeah, so we do. I had that discussion. I mean, I spoke to you a couple of days ago, Steve, and I've rolled it out straight away by having, you even mentioned to me that, even in lockdown, even the PTs can do one-on-one. I said, let's do a starter pack. So we're doing a starter pack, 3 PTs for $90. We're just going to say at half price or whatever.
Yeah.
So we do initial 2-session packs when people come in and join the gym, and we even offer it for up to the first 30 days that they can then do that.
Sure.
We take a small percentage, but I give most of it to the PT.
Yeah.
So for us to then sell it, they get a good quality lead. They've got 2 sessions to sell themselves with it, and they can go on with that. And then sporadically we'll do, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's Day. Hey, here's a PT pack special for your loved one, whatever. Buy it for yourself. We don't care. They're really, really good times, especially always, not, you can't do it with, if you're an existing member or whatever. But we utilize those dates and those days in the calendar. Like, obviously Father's Day is coming up, so you can do a PT pack special for that. And it's great leads and quality for the PTs, and then they use their skills after it. So I think, we offer a free program essentially, but if you really want solid help, we try and put them into a PT pack. And we always train, the PTs to have some sort of drop sell or enticer to come in and do, sessions with them for them to pick up a client too.
So let me visualize what it looks like, because I know everyone's models are slightly different. But if someone comes in, they've got an appointment with your manager, it's largely to become a gym member, I guess, and get a bit of a gym tour. You'll try and upsell them into a 2 PT session pack of some sort.
Yep.
What do you charge for that one as like an upsell from a new member?
Yeah, so we do $50 or $55. So literally 2 for 1.
Okay.
We perceive that. So they get 2 sessions with a trainer. We tell them at that point of time, it's only available, at point of sale for when you're coming in. They've got their first 30 days to use it.
Cool.
And we take a small percentage of that. And then on day 30, when we're checking in, saying, hey, Steve, just want to check in and see how you're going. We always find people have that perception of they want to come into the gym thinking that we're a 24-hour gym, come into the gym, do their own thing. But we know in that first month that it's pretty important for them. They can get lost as well and lose their way. So we do, at that 30-day mark, we offer that to them, but just a slightly higher price. Might be $60 or whatever, to see if they're still interested. That's kind of the process we take.
I love it because it's, reality is it's a bit of a no-brainer. For $50, you get 2 sessions, and most people do want more direction around food and what exercises they should be doing. Ideally, you don't want to be just giving it all away anyway. So you get, that person gets a better on-ramp, like they get a better chance of getting a result, whether they continue PT or not. But it also just puts the PT connected with a new member. So there's a relationship there and a chance to kind of sell them something. I think it's good. And outside of that, you said you might run a campaign where you do 3 PT for $90 or something like that. So that's your marketing budget, and then that lead would go straight to the personal trainer and skip the manager. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, well, in saying that, we might take a small percentage of that $90 because obviously we've gone out and got that.
Because you've advertised, of course, you had a budget. Yeah.
Yeah, we've advertised, we've some that cost, but it's also in retention. You know, we know anyone who's doing PT is going to stay for a lot longer, probably going to be more enticed to refer on, blah, blah, blah. They become more attached and more engaged in the gym. So they're your best quality members. So for me, it's not about, you know, making a lot of money from that PT pack. It's about having them long-term, but also having successful PTs as well.
And I like the fact that the PT actually gets a little bit of money, so they're not just working for free. They don't get their normal rate, but there's an opportunity and obviously an incentive there for them to show good service, and it's pretty cool. Like, reality is, if you weren't putting some new people in front of them, they would be spending hundreds of dollars each week trying to drive up their sort of database with ads and stuff like that. So yeah, very cool. A couple of quick sessions. So Taz has said, do new members get a free startup? He just said, yeah, they get like a program design and a bit of a tour and stuff like that. And then they have that option of upgrading as they start as a new gym member to take on some PT as well. But they do pay for the PT on top of that if it's two. Chris is at the Snap Fitness. He's saying, would you say 70-30 roughly balance around the split between the business and the trainer?
I would say I'm probably a bit higher. I'd say we might take 20%.
Yeah, cool.
And then the trainer takes 80. Yeah.
Very good. Do any of your trainers put their clients on direct debit? Are they selling packs? How are they operating once they get someone keen and they actually take them over and they become a PT client? How do most of your trainers kind of work day to day?
Yeah, it's good. One of our oldest, Luke, who's been there 7 years, I think now. He's direct debit, and then he's just taught everyone else. The trainers all share ideas. They all use the same direct debits, company. They're all for the direct debit, which I think is great because they have more control over their clients coming in.
Yeah.
Some of them do packs for different things or challenges and things like that. But you'd say 70-80% of their business is all done through direct debit, and then they will have packs, or they'll have the occasional person who might pay them cash and whatnot. But yeah, a lot of it is just direct debit, and that's the way I encourage them to do it, because every good solid company around the world is doing some sort of direct debit.
Well, they're doing direct debit for the gym membership. So doing direct debit for Netflix, it's not like it used to be 20 years ago where it had a dirty name. Like almost everything, my Optus phone account is direct debit. I think everyone's kind of used to paying like that. The thing I admire is that if you don't always present the option of packs, people won't choose it. So by default, I sort of recommend, or all of our trainers just recommend, direct debit. And it's only if a person's just adamant that they can't do that for whatever reason, we just give them a non-contract direct debit for personal training. So they pay a higher rate without some type of minimum agreement of 3 months or something like that. But it's really interesting because I chat to Plus Fitness's snaps anytime, all the time, and their trainers go around in circles because they do 5 sessions here and 5 sessions there. Yeah, I've got clients that have been with us for 4 years since we opened that have done 2 hours of PT a week since we started, just because we start them in that rhythm and it becomes kind of part of their lifestyle. So I'd encourage you, if you've got a 24-hour gym, to encourage you to, if you're not doing it already, PTs to sell to a direct debit company, and I can show you some really cheap ones if you need to. Guys, fire some questions into the chat. Joey, Jean, Nicole, Weeks. Give me some questions. Rick, Karen, what are some questions? Cameron, I'll give him a chance to have a quick breather. Sukumar, give us your questions for Cameron. I'm going to chat a little bit about retention. I've never seen a gym get over 1,000 members without a good skill set around retention. So I'm interested to see what you're doing well.
All right, I'm just reading a couple of those questions. Staffed hours, we do 9 till 6, Monday to Thursday.
Yep.
9 till 1 on Friday, 9 till 12 on Saturday. So 4 full days and then let's say 2 half days.
Yep.
In our area, I know some Sydney clubs and other clubs don't do so well on Saturdays, but we seem to. It's either really quiet or really busy. We could sign 1, 2, or 3 members up on a Saturday very easily.
We're in Sydney and we crush on Saturdays. People have more time. They willing walk-ins will just stop and chat, whereas normally they've got one foot out the door because they're on their way to work. I reckon that's smart.
Yeah, so it's been effective. We used to do till 7 p.m. We brought it forward just for the manager's lifestyle, and we didn't really see any change at all. How big's the gym square meters? We're 440 squares.
Good.
So when we first opened, we were 330. And then I took over part of next door and blew the wall out and just put a functional area in.
Were you doing group classes when you were 330?
Yeah. Yeah, you should say we have some photos, and I don't know, it's like, think about a lounge room in Sydney. It's not that big. We're trying to run 10, 12, 14 people in a group fitness class in a small space like that. You just don't know. You deal with what you've got. It's like if you've got a small PT studio, how many people can you get in it? You do it until you have more space. It's just what you dealt with, what you got to deal with.
No, we're 360 at my gym, and we do 12 classes a week, and it's every one of them's outdoors.
Yeah.
So we've got a gym access, and we've got a group training revenue that comes in, but we don't do a single one of them indoors because there's lots of trainers and stuff in there. So it's just preserving space. How
do you go wet weather, Steve, with that? If people are thinking about that now?
Yeah, there's a couple of little options, like little awnings and stuff like that, and down near the cricket fields and stuff that we can use. Sometimes we'll bring them in. So if it's only like a small group, often if it rains, a lot of people don't show up for the class. So the trainer can walk like 6 people indoors and sort of do it in there without really interrupting too much.
Yep.
But it's we use car parks. We have a few different options. If it's something like Run Club, people don't really care if it's sprinkling. If it's like torrential rain, or we just cancel it.
Yeah.
It's not ideal, but we also don't charge $65 a week for like a guaranteed class, like an F45. So I guess there's a little bit of understanding or flexibility there.
Yeah. Good.
Questions here. How many members per square meter? So Sukumar, I know you popped in a little bit late. So Cameron was just saying he's got 440 square meters and he's got 1,300 members at the moment. How do you handle peak period influx of members? Is there an issue getting on equipment at sort of 6 p.m. on a Thursday night, or does it still work with 1,300?
Yeah, it still works. The busiest period would be, that 5 o'clock on probably a Monday evening.
The guilt training session.
Yeah. So our gym's busiest days Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and just it peters off over the week. Thursday is dead because late night shopping. But I think it's just letting the members know that if you come back in half an hour's time, like they say, it's busy now. So come back in half an hour's time, and then it won't be. So they're kind of structured. Also showing if you have a graph of when your gym's the busiest, or even if you make up a graph. We put that up for a while, and people really looked at it as like, oh wow, it's like 8 o'clock, super quiet. Or 4 p.m. I can come earlier, and they get out of that rush.
Yeah, I've got a Crunch Fitness near me, and my favorite time to train in there is on a Saturday because it's packed. I love the energy. I love getting there and trying to lift heavy, and sort of when people are in there and there's music on. And then, on other days I'll go and do like a reformer Pilates somewhere else because it just fits into my timetable. So I think everyone's a little bit different. Good questions. Any tips on how to change the cancellation requests back to staying on? So if you get someone cancel, let's say they've emailed or something like that. Do you have a process? Is there any, like a conversation over the phone? Do you just email back? What do you guys do?
Yeah, we're doing a lot at the moment, obviously with being in lockdown and the gym's closed. Cancellation requests, if they come through via email, that's totally fine. But the first process we do is we call them or we attempt to call them just to get an understanding of, why they're cancelling and what their reason is, because we can find that, they're just unsure of the period of time right now. So, our aim is to try and save half of the cancellation request by offering, a hold, even better, like a get back on track session where they have a session with a trainer if it's obviously training related.
Yes.
Sometimes we'll pay for that. Sometimes we say, hey guys, the trainers can come out of that. But, paying that $30 for that trainer to give them a new program or give them to revitalizers, you might keep them for another 3 to 6 months. That way. So yeah, definitely if the email comes through, we try and call them. We always try and preempt them to come into the gym to fill out their form to sign. Different now in lockdown, but we always find if we can get them one-on-one and the effort for them to come in is more important, and talk them around that way. If they really don't want to, obviously do that and they really want to quit, they're already out the door, we can just obviously get them to fill out the form. But obviously first things first is talk to them. And then we also offer a hold or a freeze for, it could be 2 months or whatever, so they can have time, have a think about it. If they still want to cancel, then they can. It's just changing their perception on it or their look on it.
It's a really good question, Sukumar. And just to recap those steps, the first step is calling them rather than sort of emailing back, which you can't always tell someone's sort of tone. Prompting them to come in for the paperwork, because if face-to-face you can get some real feedback anyway. And I think you're trying to sort of problem solve, aren't you? I always look at someone that wants to cancel. If it's COVID related, it's because of the uncertainty. So you try and help them with that. But the other one is generally because they came in asking for X and they haven't had it. So I've come in because I wanted to lose weight and I haven't lost weight. I've come in because I wanted to stop being bored using the treadmill at the other gym and I haven't had that. So I think it's our job to actually give them an opportunity to help them out and try and sort of problem solve. We have like about 20% strike rate, like 1 in 5. If we just check in with them and ask like, what's missing and how can we help? There's 20% that are willing to say, yeah, if you could give me a bit of direction around nutrition, I'd be open to seeing that. Or if you could help me just pause my stuff for the next 2 weeks while I'm at uni, I'd be keen to stay on. So, I think if I'm brutally honest, Sukumar, I find that most people give a zero ability to actually keep people once they get that email. So like no one changes their mind or no one sort of stays on, generally because we don't like making that phone call and actually asking for feedback there. And it's hard sometimes to get negative feedback, but you learn from it. Even if you can't save the client, if they tell you that the 6 a.m. spin class instructor's been late the last 3 weeks in a row, you can get better. If they tell you that the women's bathroom's been like, the toilet's been blocked for 4 days and no one's fixed it, you can get better from it. But I always find that it's easier for a manager just to like go, sent the email, admin. And it's like there's no real effort there. There's so much time and effort in the sales process to actually get someone to start. And then we just don't even fight to help someone or save someone as they're going out the door. And it doesn't make sense. So I love what you're saying, Cam, around, you might pay a trainer to see if you can actually help that person. I think our loyalty should be to that person in delivering what we promise from day one.
Yeah, it is. It's the uncertainty. It's not knowing. Those things all weigh on people's heads. I wanted to do this, but I never got there. And it's just, reassuring and problem solving, as you said. And if you can problem solve, you always win. It's always, you put it this way, how much effort and money you have to spend to go out and get a new member versus pick up the phone, call these guys who've already paid you, know, like, and trust you, to try and save them. It's a lot cheaper and a lot easier for you if you can get 10% better at that. It might be 5 less members you have to sign up that month.
It's good, mate. A couple of quick questions because I'm conscious of your time. You've got 4 PTs. You said that they're doing well, like they're earning money themselves. They all get along. Do you have any recommendations or tips for how you're sort of onboarding them so that they are successful? You said before you're giving them a bit of sales training. Anything else that's sort of part of that onboarding process?
Yeah, I suppose I do a lot of that myself, but the first thing I would say is just be patient. And understanding for them to be patient too. You can't have a trainer come in who's brand new, and in 2 weeks they've got 20 clients and going well. So it's all about progression and them understanding the process involved as well. Don't promise them the world, and because you can't deliver that. Obviously, any sort of training you can do, sales training really helps, but just getting them to practice sessions and practice them doing their sales speech. If they have a target of 1 in 4, every 4 kind of initial sessions they pick up a new client. Well, let's just book as many sessions as they can, and then refine with them. You've got to be hands-on. I believe you just got to be hands-on to train them. I've had one trainer in 9 years who's had experience and could come in and just run their own, will know what to do. But if you've got to hold their hand and be patient and spend the time training them. And, I don't really start charging them rent until, they're off their feet and really, really going. I'm happy to do a split share at the start if that's what they feel comfortable. But I find once their rental kicks in, they really get going, and that really motivates them as well. So it's a process. I don't have a set structured process. I could say, here, I'll email it to you. But you've just got to stay patient and get as many, people in front of them as possible so they can learn and feel like they're achieving. And that's where I'll come in and sell some, PT packs and stuff like that for them. So I can give them, a cheap, someone who's paid money, but a really good quality lead, but they're also earning some income from it as well.
That's good, Cam. The one I said I would circle back to is around retention. I find gyms kind of grow up to 600 members, 800 members, and then they fall back down, and then they grow up and they fall back down. And it's always that inability to push past 1,000 because retention sort of suffers a little bit. You mentioned before that you're doing community-based stuff. You do the mystery bus tour and stuff like that. Any other suggestions or things that you found to be effective that are helping create that culture for you?
Yeah, I think it's consistency. We talked about earlier, definitely consistency from the start. Like I had the goal to get to 1,000 members in 12 months. We hit that in 9 months from opening. Yeah. And then, it's over the last 8 years, we've been over the 1,000, 1,200, 1,300, 1,400, 1,300. And I think it's having that consistency. So every month we'll message anyone who's come to the gym 6 or more times recognition. So, it'd be, hey, Steve, congratulations. You came to the gym, 13 times in July. How many times are you going to get in August? So that's one thing they get done. We'd have, the top 10 visits for the month. We have the top 50 visits for the month. We have MyZone in the club, which is heart rate. So we recognize people there. So recognitions on different areas in the gym each month, being consistent, having some sort of social event, maybe every 2 months, and being consistent with that. We do the 1%ers in the gym. Do we know everyone's name? We have challenges. We'll walk out of the staff room and look around the gym. There might be 13 people in there, and do you know that name, that name, that name, that name? Who's that, and that? And, we challenge each other on that. And sometimes we have a real focus over a month of learning everyone's name, things like that. So it's nothing that's, drastically different. It's just being consistent. And doing those 1%ers that I call it is really, really important. Having a fruit box in there once a month. It could be, give away your coffee cups, stuff like that. Free Coffee Friday. I love this one, and it's probably the best $200 or $300 I spend every month. So we just G up with a local cafe, and we say it's Free Coffee Friday. Hey guys, go down to X cafe. All you do is show your snap card and you'll get one. I limit this is 1 coffee per card, because sometimes we had Steve rocking down there showing I'll have 4 coffees for
I love my coffee.
These co-workers. But it might be $170, $200, but the members absolutely love it. And even if the fact they don't go down there that month, they get it. Those small little things really, really add up. That's the best marketing. Like we'll put that on social media and saying, hey, this is Free Coffee Fridays at this place. And all our members just comment, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. So it's getting great traction. Viewing from the outside in is saying, oh, wow, that gym gives away free coffee to their members. It's great cross promotion, everything. So there's a lot of pluses to these simple things. If done right, but just being consistent with it.
So good. It's I think in any service, like customer service, there's the minimum expectation. So like in a Snap Fitness, the minimum you can give them is 24-hour gym access and clean and stuff. And it's those little things that they don't expect, that you haven't sort of promised from the outset. It's a really pleasant surprise. I think, the more online jobs that happen, I think the more that people sit in cubicles and work, the more that they actually look for a social life and interaction at a gym. And I don't think everyone has to be 6% body fat. I think they can come for stress relief and for, a little escape from work, whatever it might be. It's I love those little things that you're looking to do, which it just acknowledges that you appreciate them as members. I think it's really easy to do the opposite and just go, oh, they're a pain in the ass and I'm getting these complaints. And we focus on the 2% of members that break the equipment and stuff us around and are owing on direct debits, instead of focusing on the 98% that are wonderful and saying thank you. I love your approach, mate. Well done.
Yeah, I think it is those things, like those members who, complain about something are the ones who's failed their last two payments or fails every second payment. So it takes up more of your time.
Yeah.
So I think if you just push that aside and give to you look at the majority who are paying you, the 85, 90, 95% of people who are great members, just focus on them and give back to them. We don't never sell on a membership. Are they coming in? Hey, Steve, obviously we've got this and this. We do free coffee Friday. This is a great thing. They just find that out once they start the journey of it. So I said, we do some great social things. It's very social, but we want to see that this gym is the right fit for you. And if it's the right fit, we know you're going to love it and stay. And then all those bonuses come from the back. So we never over promise at the start. We just want to over deliver as we go along, and people might not even go to the coffee shop and get that free thing. It's just they feel good that their gym's doing it.
Under promise, over deliver. I reckon gyms are horrible at getting that balance wrong. You want to lose 20 kilos this week? Yeah, we can help you with that. And you set yourself up for a complaint. It's so good. Hey, Cam, this has been fantastic, buddy. There's questions I'm sure we could go on forever. What I'm going to do is let you go. I'll log in and quickly try and answer a few of these for the guys, but I really appreciate your time, mate. It's been fantastic. I'd love to reconnect down the track in a few months if you're happy to, and then pick your brain on another topic.
Yeah, for sure. No worries at all. Do you want me to answer these questions, or Steve, or not?
Do you have a coffee card?
No.
So they just do a Snap Fitness card.
Well, so we just go there and we literally have a tab with them. Some places say, do you have a limit? We'll say, yeah, $300 or $200. Call me if it's going over. But they just run up a tab we just say one medium coffee. If they want to get large, they can pay the extra 50 cents. But, to make it simple, they just go there, tab, we fix it up at lunchtime that day, whatever, and away you go.
Sure. There's a question there from Sukumar. 1,000 square meter gym, 500 members, and gets complaints. Again, that's the 2%. Sukumar, it's possible that your layout of the gym can be improved, but in most cases, like initial gyms that are just getting started, they're used to being able to superset on 5 pieces of equipment. Just go into a gym with 1,000 members. Go into a gym. I worked with Virgin Active with 5,000 members. They get along. Everyone can fit in there. You got plenty of space, and don't make decisions on your business based on feedback from the 2% of complainers. Will they all agree to come in and sign the paperwork for a cancellation? No, of course not. But you don't have to save all of them either. What you'll find, bud, is there's a whole heap of them that are just crying out for help that will come in and will give you good feedback. So, I'd just try and focus on those ones, guys.
Cool.
So good, Cam. Thanks again, mate. I really appreciate your time, and thanks for everyone else for logging in today. I hope you found that useful. I'll be sure to pass on your feedback from today's session to Cam.
Awesome. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, mate. Have a good week. See you soon.
See you, mate.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.